Good Saturday night, YouTube and Facebook. How you doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy, and it is Memorial Day weekend. Baby, we all have a 3-day weekend. I guess we all. I can't speak for everyone, but I hope you do. I hope you all are having a great start to your Memorial Day weekend. I am Kendrick, the sports guy, and welcome to Saturday Night Sports Buzz, where we talk a little sports and a little bit of everything else. It can start in sports, and then it could turn into a whole different conversation. Just depends on the reaction and the engagement. Those that are engaged in the conversation, in the comments, we can talk about whatever you like. That again, it can turn into sports, entertainment. We ain't gonna do no politics. We ain't gonna do that. But sports entertainment, I know a lot of times people, get caught up on the social media reality show type stuff. I kind of keep my eye on that. I'm not watching that like a big time, but again, it's mostly sports. Again, I'm Kendrick, the sports guy. Again, if you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. I actually got my TFG Sports background tonight. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to TFG Sports Media right here on YouTube, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle. I meant to change my background, but it was meant for me to leave it like that. That's okay. It's all good in the neighborhood. Make sure you like and subscribe to them both on YouTube. Again, that's Kendrick Sports Hustle as well as TFG Sports Media. Make sure you like and follow them both on Facebook. That is Kendrick Sports Hustle, SporTZHUSTLE, as well as TFG Sports Media. And you can follow me on Instagram. That is at Kendrick Kendrick 1969. And you can follow me on TikTok at Kendrick Henderson 51. It goes down on TikTok. It's all love in the neighborhood. Let me try something real quick while I'm waiting to see if a few people are going to pop in. If you pop in, make sure you comment, like, let me know where you're watching from. Don't be in the bushes. Don't be in the bushes. Don't be hiding. Make sure you come in, tap in, talk to your boy. Again, I know it's a lot of people that's doing that's on their 3-day vacation. Again, let me try to do something real different. I'm gonna do this while I'm trying to do this live. We're gonna see if I can change this up. Yeah, we're gonna change this up a little bit. Yeah, let's see what it's gonna do. What it's gonna do. There we go. There we go. We're gonna do that. How about that? We're gonna do that. There we go. Y'all already know what's in the backdrop. You already know. If you don't know, now you know. It's your boy. That's Lambeau Field, baby. Wisconsin born, Texas raised. 414 Blue City, baby. Green Bay Packers. All day, every day. Again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy. Again, I hope you all are having a great start to your 3-day weekend. I'm going to see if a couple of people are going to pop in. Again, make sure if you come in, you comment, you share this to all your social media platforms. Make sure you like as well. And let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you got going on this Memorial Day weekend, where most people are off on Monday. It is the last Monday in May. It is the last Monday in May. It is Memorial. And I want to say this before I get started. We're going to talk about the NBA Conference Finals. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. They are playing right now on ABC. It's at halftime. Actually, I think it's probably starting the third quarter with the Knicks holding a slight lead. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder as well and the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Final. And we're going to talk about some NFL stuff and just other sports stuff. But I will say this on Memorial Day weekend. I was thinking about this earlier today when I was live on my TikTok page, Kendrick Henderson 51. If you haven't followed me there, make sure you do. Make sure I need your help too. Go over there if you haven't followed me there. I'm trying to get to 4,000 followers. I only need like 3 or 4 followers. And that's a milestone. We're working on getting to 5,000 before the Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. But speaking on Memorial Day, I want to make sure that no one says this weekend, do not say Happy Memorial Day. Just say have a good Memorial Day, or I hope you're having a extra or enjoying your extra day off during this Memorial Day weekend, because actually Memorial Day is not really a happy time, because we are celebrating the lives lost of those women and men men and women, excuse me, that were in service, that lost their lives serving the country. So it's not really a happy moment, but it should just be Memorial Day weekend. So don't say Happy Memorial Day. Just say, I hope you will have a good Memorial Day weekend, remembering those service members, men and women in the past that fought and lost their lives for this country that is the United States of America. And I know we got a lot of issues going on in this country right now, and this is not a political show by no means. I could say a whole lot, but I would not, because we're keeping it sports related and we're going to keep it light and hearty. How about that? So I'm going to see. I got 2 people watching. Whoever those 2 people are, you can comment. Let me know where you're watching from. And so we can engage. Let's have some conversation. It's all good in the neighborhood. Yeah. It's Memorial Day weekend. If you don't have nothing out on the grill, if you're out just chilling in the house, watching the game at the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks, come on in. Let's chat a little bit. Let's talk a little bit. Matter of fact, you can put anything that you want to talk about in the comment section. And let's chop it up a little bit. But again, we're gonna start off first and foremost. We got to talk about the NBA Conference Finals, which is going on right now. We are down to the Final Four. We got the Eastern Conference Finals game going on right now. It's at halftime. It's probably about to start the third quarter. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. The Knicks holding a slight lead in the third quarter has started, actually 60-54. 63-54, that is. The Knicks are opening up a lead, and I picked the Knicks to win this series. I picked them to win this in a gentleman's sweep. I think this thing will go 5. I picked the Cavaliers to win tonight, but again, it's still got a lot of time left. The Knicks are up by 7. Well, by 6 now, with 10:47 left in the third. Now the Knicks lead this series 2-0. The Knicks won on this past Thursday night, 109-93. They were led by Josh Hart with his 26 points. And the Cavaliers was led by Donovan Mitchell with his 26 points. The Cavs right now are 33-19 in conference games. The Knicks are 35-17 in conference games. The Knicks are probably the hottest team in the playoffs outside of the Thunder. I think the Thunder and the Knicks are the hottest teams. The Knicks are 10-2 right now in the playoffs. They defeated the Hawks in the first round in 6, 4-2, and they swept the 76ers in the second round. So they are 10-2 in the playoffs. And I mean, they playing like a well-oiled machine under Mike Brown, their new head coach in his first year. Tom Thibodeau was fired after 4 or 5 years with New York, and I think he set the tone. He put his mark on that team. Let me see who I got here. Hey, what's up, Tiffany Richardson? A former JT Lionette, former mascot. Hey, T-Town. I don't know if I'm a superstar, Tiffany, but I appreciate the love. Thank you for popping in and hollering at your boy. That is Tiffany Richardson, class of 88, John Tyler mascot, and she did it big. Man, I appreciate you popping in. Thanks for the love as well. But back to, again, this Cavaliers and this Knicks series. Again, I think the Knicks are the hottest team in the league. in this playoffs right now. And I don't see the Cavaliers being able to win this series. I did pick again, like I said, I picked the Knicks to win this in 5, a gentleman's sweep 4-1. But I did pick the Cavaliers to win tonight just because of their home cooking. I think the Cavaliers got some issues. Their biggest issue is James Harden. And I know everybody loves them some James Harden. Oklahoma City Thunder, Rocket. He's been all over the place. Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers, LA Clippers. He's been all over the place. But the one thing about James Harden is he can score the basketball. He can put it in the basket. He can do that. The one thing he can't do is he cannot play defense. He cannot defend anyone. And head coach Mike Brown of the Knicks said that we're going to exploit the Cavaliers' weakness, and their weakness is James Harden when he's on the floor defensively. He can't defend. He's playing. He's pretty much a matador. He's going to let you walk into the lane with no problem. Thank you, Tiffany. Much love to you, baby girl. You know what? Always a lion, a lioness. JT Lions, we run this. I know it's Tyler High now. I'm speaking to my Tyler people. I know the name has changed to Tyler High, but we're going to all forever be John Tyler. That's how I'm going to always remember it. Big Bad John. But, yeah, that's something I may talk about later on in this live stream. But, again, the Knicks and the Cavaliers, I think the Knicks are just really ready. I like Jalen Brunson. I like Josh Hart. I think Jalen Brunson is that dude. Now, is he? This is a conversation I had with a buddy of mine at work, a young fella, a lot younger than I am. He's come from a different generation. I get it. So I always keep that in perspective when we talking sports, because a lot of times you got these younger cats, young women too, not just men, young women. They come from a different generation. So their goats and how they look at sports is going to be a little bit different because they're from a different generation. I respect that. I get that. And he was asking me about the top 5 New York Knicks of all time, and is Jalen Brunson in that conversation? I'm like, hell no, he's not. He's not in that conversation. This is what, his second, third year with the Knicks. You cannot say that Jalen Brunson is one of the top 5 New York Knicks of all time at all. And they hadn't even, they hadn't done nothing, And the Knicks, let's be honest, the Knicks hadn't done nothing either since, 1970. They haven't won a championship since 1970. The last time they went to the NBA Finals was 1992. No, 99, I should say. Excuse me. It was 1999. That was the strike year, if I'm not mistaken. San Antonio Spurs. They played the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. Spurs with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. They will win their championship then. So that's the last time the New York Knicks have been to the finals. So the Knicks have somewhat been irrelevant since 99 when you're talking about bringing the championship to the city. And if you follow the Knicks, you already know Spike Lee, Oscar-winning director, as well as Stephen A. Smith, the loudmouth of ESPN. They are big Knicks fans. And so the Knicks are looking to get off that, to bring a chip home to the New York Knicks, and it's been a minute. And, I was thinking when I was talking to the young fella, I was thinking about some of the great Knicks in their history. When you talk about top 5 Knicks of all time, you got to start with Walt Frazier. He's in the mix. You got to start with Willis Reed. When you talk about the greatest New York Knicks, you got to start with Patrick Ewing. Greatest New York Knicks. Those are 3 right off the top that I can come with. Willis Reed, Patrick Ewing, and Walt Clyde Frazier. You may even throw Earl the Pearl Monroe in there, even though he didn't start with the Knicks. He was with the Washington Bullets, or even I think they weren't the Bullets then. So you have to start with him too. But then you go to those 90s Knicks. You had some. Do you throw Charles Oakley in there, or Larry Johnson, John Starks, Mark Jackson, Allen Houston. So some of those names too could be in there. But I definitely know 3 of in the top 5 when you talk about the greatest Knicks of all time is Patrick Ewing, Willis Reed, and Walt the Clyde Frazier. Dave DeBusschere and some other ones you can put in there, but those are the top 3 that come to my mind. So Jalen Brunson is that dude. He's good, obviously, but he's not top 5 Knicks of all time. I wouldn't even put him ahead of John Starks. I wouldn't put him ahead of Allen Houston. I wouldn't put him ahead of Mark Jackson. Wouldn't put him ahead of Charles Oakley. Wouldn't put him ahead of Larry Johnson. That's just me. My Knicks fans, if you come in here and check this out, you tell me what you think about that. But I think this game is going to be tight tonight. I think the Cavaliers will win it. But I think it's just a stepping stone to the formality. I think it's going to end. It's going to end in 5, regardless. Right now, the Knicks are up 71-64. So that is going on right now on ABC. Now, last night we had the Western Conference Game 3 between San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That series was tied 1-1, and it was back in San Antonio. The Spurs was feeling pretty good about themselves after taking game 1 with that monstrous game 1 from Victor Wembanyama. Overtime, he went for 41 and 24 rebounds, I believe. Game 2, Oklahoma City would take game 2 at home and tie the series up. Well, last night, I think the Spurs came down back to reality. The Thunder would take the win 123-108, even with the Spurs jumping out to a 15-0 lead in the first quarter. The Thunder survived all that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would end up with 26 points, 12 assists. Jalen Williams for the Thunder would have 18 points. He was 5 or 6 from the three-point line. And I didn't realize that the goddamn Thunder got 2 Jalen Williamses on their roster. The other Jalen Williams didn't play last night due to the hamstring. But again, they got the win. Jared McClain had 24 points. He was 10 for 21 from the field. Alex Caruso gave him 15 points. He was 3 for 5 from the three-point line as well. Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, he went for 26 and 4 rebounds. He was 8 for 15 from the field. Devin Vassell had 20 points. Stephon Castle had 14 points, 7 assists. De'Aaron Fox, made his first game appearance in the playoffs in this series. He had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. The thing is, I was looking at the box score on this game. The one thing that stood out to me, Victor Wembanyama only had 4 rebounds. That the Spurs can't have that. He's got to be able to rebound the basketball on both ends, offensive and defensive end, for them to have a chance. Him being 7'4" and only having 4 rebounds, that is unacceptable. Can't have that. Another thing that's unacceptable, the Thunder bench scored 73 points, 76 points off the bench. Spurs bench only gave them 23. That's unacceptable too. There's no way that Spurs can win this series if you're not getting any bench scoring. And that was the key to last night's game and victory for the Thunder. Their bench came up and showed up big. Again, 76 points off the Thunder bench. Spurs only were able to muster 23 points. So again, that series now is the Thunder are up 2-1 in that series. I picked the Thunder to win this series in 6 4-2. But I will say this about Oklahoma, the San Antonio Spurs. I was talking to a couple of buddies earlier tonight. I think that this team, with their young nucleus of Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Victor Wembanyama, if they can keep that core together, I think that team is going to be a team that's you have to reckon with for the next 7 to 10 years in the Western Conference. I think they're going to be that team that you're going to have to go through if they can keep that core together. That is the San Antonio Spurs, because I think they're talented enough They got a good coach. I think his name is Mitch Johnson, young guy. And I think that young core, you can keep them together. I think the Spurs, again, is going to be that team that you're going to have to go through to get to the NBA Finals in the Western Conference. And I think Oklahoma City right now, they are the reigning champs, and they also have the experience, and they got a great bench. Overall, they ready. So I think those are the two teams you're going to be talking about a whole lot in the Western Conference. That is Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, we down to the Final Four. Again, as I said earlier, I picked the Knicks and the Thunder to meet in the NBA Finals. I think probably the average viewer wants to see the Knicks and wants to see the Thunder. Those that are casual NBA viewers. Now, those that watch the NBA on a consistent basis, it depends on the region that you're in as well. I think those that maybe probably live in Texas, outside of the Dallas-Houston area, they may not want it. But most of the people, now that both those teams aren't a mix in the mix, they want to see San Antonio make it to the finals. And in the Eastern Conference, I think most people want to see the Knicks. Obviously, the Knicks are in the number one television market in the U.S., that is New York City. The NBA wants that as well. So are we going to be seeing some home cooking? We're going to be seeing some questionable officiating. We've already seen that. Some people already complained about some of the officiating in this OKC San Antonio Spurs series. I can see that. The flopping. They say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the biggest floppers. Matter of fact, last night, San Antonio Spurs fans was giving him the business, calling him flopper, and he is. I was watching some of the highlights and some of the isolation plays. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander he's a flopper. But this isn't the first time we've seen this in this league. We all know that the NBA is a star-driven league. So the star is going to get the calls. If you're not a star, you're probably not going to get the calls, especially when you're talking playoffs. But I do think the NBA officiating is one of those things that is not that great, and it needs to be addressed by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, because not only about the flopping, but just some of the other things, the consistent traveling that I see, the fundamentals has been gone. You let these players get away with traveling and palming a basketball, and these step backs, you taking 3 steps and all this. It's been a lot, and it didn't just start. It started 15, 20 years ago. So Commissioner Adam Silver is going to have to figure this out because a lot of the hardcore basketball fans is like fed up with the way this game is being officiated on the NBA level. But again, I think that the ratings have shown that they are up, regardless of what you may be thinking. The ratings are up from what I was reading earlier, especially the Western Conference Finals, because it's kind of like a heavyweight match between the Thunder and the Spurs. I think a lot of people are interested in that one, and I definitely am, and I'm interested in both of them. But definitely the Spurs and Thunder series seem to be a little bit more competitive. I think if the Cavs can get a win tonight, that would kind of get a little bit more interest in that. But I think most people have already said that the Knicks are going to eventually move on to the NBA Finals. And I'm sticking with that as well. So that is our NBA talk for tonight. Like I said, right now, the Cavs and the Knicks are getting it on in Cleveland. And the score is, the Knicks have opened up a 13-point lead with 3:39 left in the third period, 83-70. And if the Cleveland Cavaliers don't win tonight, and I picked them to win, yeah, you might as well go and sweep this thing out of there. The Knicks are playing some ball. And what can you got to talk about Mike Brown, man. Think about his coaching carousel that he's been on, the roller coaster that he's been on. Was the Cleveland Cavaliers head coach and eventually got fired. He coached LeBron, I think, for a year or so. He coached the Lakers for a year or so when the late Kobe Bean Bryant was there, and he got let go from there. And then he was eventually on a Golden State Warriors staff under Steve Kerr. Then he got another shot at the head coach with the Sacramento Kings. He kind of got that team turned around. They got the playoffs. Then he got fired from there. And now, in his first year as a head coach of the Knicks, he's taking a team, which, let's be honest, he was, Tom Thibodeau. He was there, and he turned the fortunes of this season, that franchise around. And now, Mike Brown in his first year is on the cusp of taking the New York Knicks to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. What a hell of a story for Mike Brown. And you're probably going to hear a lot more about that as we go, as the NBA playoffs move on. But if these Knicks get to the finals, you got to say, God damn, hats off to Mike Brown by getting booted around and kicked around, by a couple of franchises. Then you end up in the number one market, and you were able to bring this team and get them back into the finals. And I'm putting the cart before the horse. I know that because this series isn't over by no means. The Knicks are up 2-0. But if they go up 3-0, you best believe this series is over because there ain't no way in the hell Cleveland's going to win 4 games against the New York Knicks. With that offense they got with Jalen Brunson again, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and the rest of the OG, I can't ever say his name. The rest of those cats they got, I just don't see the Cavaliers being able to overcome that deficit. And by no means, the Cavaliers got some firepower with Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, and the rest of them fellas. They got the firepower, offensively. I don't know if defensively they got enough. Because eventually you do got to play defense in this league, in basketball. You ain't got to be the greatest defensive team, but you got to play some sort of defense. And I think that's the Achilles heel right now for the Cavaliers, especially with James Harden, because we all know he can't stop a nosebleed. He can't guard nobody. Yeah, he can't guard nobody. So that's my thoughts on that. So, again, that's the NBA Conference Finals. Again, Cavaliers and the Knicks going on ABC. Let's move to some news from the NFL. We had the LA Rams giving out some big money, no whammies, to their quarterback, Super Bowl reigning MVP Matthew Stafford. They agreed to an extension with him, 1 year, $55 million, with incentives that could rise to as much as $60 million. Last year, Stafford, the reigning MVP, he threw for 4,707 yards, which led the NFL. He led the NFL with touchdowns of 46. And he also only threw 8 INTs. And he said at the NFL Honors Award that he was coming back for one more year, and that is the deal. He is signed through 2027. He will make $105 million over the next 2 years. That is the 38-year-old quarterback, reigning NFL MVP, Matthew Stafford. My thoughts on it? Hey, pay the guy. You want to make one last run for that Super Bowl. You want to get another one. Obviously, he won the Super Bowl back in 2021. That is Matthew Stafford for the Rams. Give it one last go around. Because he, at 38, he can still sling the football. He can still spin the rock. His arm strength ain't definitely aged. That's for sure. That is Matthew Stafford. And I know my good brother Sean Williams would love to hear all that because he's a big Rams fan. But you pay the guy and see what you can do. Now, you make sure that you show up that offensive line to keep him upright as much as possible. Make sure you have a decent running game. And get some balance. And obviously you got Devontae Adams still there, wide receiver, and show up that defense. So again, I get it because you're only as good. And when you talk about it at the NFL level, you're only as good as your quarterback play. I don't care how great your defense is. I don't care how great your special teams play is. You're only as great as your quarterback play. And we saw that in last year's playoffs, the NFL playoffs, because I'm sure my Houston Texans fans can definitely relate. That Houston Texans defense, hands down, was dominant. They were dogs. They was a dominating defense. But it didn't matter when your quarterback had a subpar playoff. And that is, I ain't trying to throw shade. I ain't trying to hate, but CJ Stroud was straight garbage in the playoffs. So the defense did their job. They played well. Matter of fact, they ran the Pittsburgh Steelers out pretty much out the building in the first round. But CJ Stroud, it wasn't because of what he did in that game. CJ Stroud did not have a great postseason at all. So that's why I'm saying is at the end of the day, your quarterback play dictates pretty much how successful your team is going to be. No matter how great your defense is, no matter how great your special teams is, and all that. If your quarterback play is below average to mediocre, you're probably not going to win. And that's what I saw with the Houston Texans, who I picked. I'm a Packers fan. Y'all already know. You see Lambeau Field, Wisconsin-born, Texas raised, 414, Bruce City, baby. At the end of the day, it's about your quarterbacks not playing to lose. And I don't want to call quarterbacks game managers. But I get what Cam Newton was saying about certain particular quarterbacks, because I think eventually as a quarterback, you got to make plays, because you can't expect your defense to always hold offenses to a certain number of points. You can't expect that. And I can tell, and there's another team that's a perfect example of that was last season, the Dallas Cowboys. As potent as their offense was, with Dak Prescott and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Javonte Williams, and how they were able to put points on the board and gain yardage, their defense was straight garbage. You can't expect your offense to always put a lot of points on the board, and you always can't expect your defense to hold teams down. So what's the correlation? You got to have a quarterback there that can carry you sometime, because that's why they get paid the big bucks. And then speaking of big bucks, going back to Matthew Stafford, if you did know, after this basically 2-year deal with the Rams, he will have made $408 million in his NFL career, which is the most all time. $408 million. That's a lot of cheddar, man. And so he would be the quarterback that the NFL player that may have made the most money in their career all time. So that got me to thinking. I went to Spot Track to see who are the highest earning NFL players of all time. So I went and typed that in, and I got the list. And I wrote a song about it. You like to hear it? Here it go. And the top 10 list, I really limited to the top 10 just to see. And I'm sure you all probably already know. If you watch this later, you can guess. The top 10 highest earners in NFL history are all quarterbacks. In the top 10, they are all quarterbacks. Again, at number 1 is Matthew Stafford. At the end of this contract, he would have made $408 million, like I said just a few minutes ago. At number 2, Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, $394 million in his career. At number 3, the retired and the future Hall of Famer New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, he made $235 million in his NFL career. And number 4 is the poster child, I feel, like for stealing money. I ain't going to say steal money. You get paid what your agent and what you negotiate. Number 4 is Kirk Cousins, the Las Vegas Raiders, soon to be backup / starter, whatever he's going to be. He's made $321 million in his NFL career. And number 5, Russell Wilson, who we still don't know what's next for him. He hasn't been signed to anyone. There's reports that he possibly could be going into the broadcasting booth. But he's made $315 million in his career. I think I got that wrong. Number 3, Tom Brady should be more than 235. His was 335. Tom Brady. I said 235. His was 335 at number 3. Kirk Cousins is number 4 at 321, or 321 million. And number 5 is Russell Wilson at 315 million. And number 6 is Matt Ryan, president of football for the Atlanta Falcons, 303 million. And number 7, it is Dak Prescott. You know who he is, Cowboys quarterback, 297 million. And number 8, Hall of Famer Drew Brees from the Who Dat Nation, 271 million. And number 9, it is Ben Roethlisberger, former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, future Hall of Famer at 267 million. And at number 10, it is current Detroit Lions starting quarterback Jared Goff at 259 million. So those are the top 10 highest earning NFL players of all time. They've made the most money. They've made a lot of cheddar. So there's one name missing from that top 10, and I'm sure you probably like, where's he at? And I ain't going to keep you guessing. This Kansas City Chiefs future Hall of Famer, Patrick Mahomes, straight out of White House, Texas, right outside of Tyler, straight out of Texas Tech University. Believe it or not, he's at number 16 with only, and I'm saying only, that's a lot of money, $232 million he's made in his NFL career. He's at number 16 on this list. And I said this some years back, a couple of years ago. Eventually, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be the first $100 million a year quarterback in the NFL. I think it's going to be him. I know he's coming off an ACL injury and this and that. He's already renegotiated his contract a couple of times. I think he's probably going to be the first $100 million a year quarterback in the league because we already got $60 million a year quarterbacks, Dak Prescott. So it ain't going to be long before we see one that's going to be making $100 million per year. And I think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. So those are some of the highest earners. Now, I studied this list a little bit more. I was like, okay, so who's the first non-quarterback that's made the most money in their NFL career in history? And you guys probably think it's a wide receiver. Because I know when you think about those positions they get paid, quarterback obviously is number 1. You're going to think wide receiver number 2. And you're going to probably think left tackle or defense or pass rusher, one of those. And you're probably correct because that's what I thought and that's what I think. But it wasn't a wide receiver, nor was it a edge rusher. He was a left tackle that's made the most money outside of quarterbacks in their NFL career. And this is another one that's straight out of East Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Future Hall of Famer from out there in Cali, San Francisco 49ers left tackle Trent Williams, straight out of Longview, Texas, Longview Lobos, straight out of Oklahoma Sooner. Trent Williams has made roughly $218 million in his career, and he's at number 17. So he is the first non-quarterback to show up on this list, the highest paid NFL earners in their career. So shout out again to Trent Williams. So yeah, so there you have it. Again, Matthew Stafford, he's looking to uh, play into his 40s. We already know Aaron Rodgers is going to be what, 42 by the time this season ends. He's decided to come back for what he says is his last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He will. I think he's 41 right now. I think he will be 42 in December. Uh, and so, though, there you have it. NFL. NFL, we got OTAs going on. We got mini camps going on. Training camps just around the corner. We've already had a couple of injuries in mini camps coming out of the New York Giants camp. They lost a defensive tackle. You know, they traded Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals, but their defensive tackle, and they also lost a cornerback to Achilles injury. So they've already dealing with injuries. The Houston Texans they are dealing with an injury with their linebacker EJ Speeds, who played at TCU. From what I was reading, reports say he tore a pectoral muscle, so he's going to miss a majority of the season. But they think that he'll be back maybe toward the end. And so we got a whole lot going on. Then you got June 1st right around the corner, where these teams are going to be probably releasing players to save some money under the cap for this season as well as next season. So they're waiting for that June 1st post designation. So they're going to be doing that. Right now, the Knicks are up on the Cavs, 91-82, in the beginning of the fourth period. So we'll see what happens with that. So we got a lot. We got a lot going on. I would say the sport is kind of a little quiet now. This is the quiet before, because you got the NBA Finals about to jump off here in a couple of weeks. Obviously, we got baseball going on, but a lot of times people don't pay attention to baseball until after the All-Star break. We got NFL training camps that's going to be ramping up starting in July. So this is kind of the dull season in sports, unless you're a baseball fan. I don't really watch baseball like that until we get closer to the playoffs, and I don't watch it a whole lot then. But right now, everybody's anticipating NFL training camps, which are right around the corner. You got some of the docu-series that are going to be popping off. We got a new docu-series on Netflix, Quarterbacks, who's going to be jumping off mid-July. They're going to be showcasing Joe Flacco, Cam Ward, Baker Mayfield, and I forgot who the third quarterback is. But I do know it's those three: Cam Ward, Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield, and I forgot who the fourth quarterback they would be focusing on. They would be featuring on the Quarterbacks season 3 on Netflix. Then we got Hard Knocks coming up. Don't know what they hadn't announced what team they're going to be following this season. I wouldn't be shocked if they followed the Cleveland Browns because of the drama that they got going on with Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders, which me personally, I don't think there should be any drama. With Todd Monken as the new head coach there. But don't be surprised if it's the Cleveland Browns that's going to be featured on this season Hard Knocks. Don't be surprised. Oh, I figured out who's the other quarterback. It's Jaden Daniels for the quarterback season 3 on Netflix. So it's Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward, Joe Flacco, and Baker Mayfield. So that'll be something to check out. Again, that'll drop on Netflix mid-July. I think it's July 15th. Then again, like I said, I don't know who Hard Knocks is going to follow, but I would not be surprised if they followed the Cleveland Browns. And I wouldn't be surprised if they followed the New York Giants as well because of John Harbaugh. After being with Baltimore, 18 seasons, he got hired by the New York Giants. They got a lot going on. I just was reading something about Jackson Dart hanging out with that guy that's at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And so I saw something about that too. He's supposed to be buddy with Donald J. Trump, but that's neither here nor there. So don't be surprised that could be a team as featured. Uh, Cleveland or the Giants. I could see one. I could see one of those teams being on Hard Knocks. There you have it. So what else is going on in the world of sports? Oh, I did run across a story on KDFW Fox 4 out of Dallas Fort Worth. They posted a story that the Dallas Mavericks are could. They didn't say they would, and that's how you are. That's why you always got to read the fine print and read how the headlines are written. They say that the Dallas Mavericks could interview South Carolina Lady Gamecocks head coach Don Staley for their vacant head coaching position. We know the Mavericks. They hired a new president of basketball operations, and they fired Jason Kidd a couple of days ago. So they're looking for a new head coach. Yeah, again, according to this article, some writer with the Athletic said that the Mavericks could uh, interview Don Staley for their vacant Dallas Mavericks head coach. Usai, what's his name? Majai. I always get his name. I mess his name up. Masai Ujiri is the new president of basketball operations. Now, again, this wouldn't be anything new if that is the case. And I'm not saying that they're not going to interview, but it says they could interview it. Well, we also know that Don Staley did interview for the New York Knicks job opening after they fired Tom Thibodeau. That we do know that as fact. And me and a buddy of mine were talking about that, and I said that I don't think, personally speaking, I don't see why Dawn Staley would be attracted to being a head coach in the NBA. Obviously, for the historical purpose, I get that. She would be the first women's head coach to coach the NBA team. But considering where she is in South Carolina, she's won 4 national championships. She's the second highest paid, if not the highest paid. I think she's the second highest paid women's basketball coach behind Gino Auriemma. She's probably making 12, 13 million a year. South Carolina, you're gonna get the best recruits. You know, why leave that for a Dallas Maverick gig that you're gonna probably take a pay cut? You're gonna take a pay cut, and you got to deal with all the other nonsense. Because you're gonna have these guys making more money than you, probably kind of testing you to see if you got it, just because. And then the Mavericks, they're coming off a season. Obviously, Cooper Flag, he definitely showed that he is that dude. Rookie of the year, but they in a rebuilding mode. In my thoughts, the Mavericks. So I don't know if that would be. I would, if I was advising Dawn Staley, I'm not going to tell her not to interview for it. Obviously, if they call and they offer they want to interview you, you definitely take the interview. But when you really look at the big picture, you weigh South Carolina Lady Gamecocks. I'm the queen of the state. I'm making 12, 13 million a year. I can recruit the best women basketball players. I done got 4 natties. Dallas Mavericks coming off didn't even make it to the play-in. Got Cooper Flag, who's he's a great player. Got a whole new this a rebuilding project. I'm probably gonna again take a pay cut. Then I got to deal with having to prove myself to these men that I can coach them. I don't know if that is attractive. I'm just saying. Now, that's just my thoughts on it. If I was in Dawn Staley's inner circle, I would say I don't know if that would be that attractive of a job. But again, I would not tell her not to interview for it. By no means. You definitely interview for it. But taking it, that's a whole nother deal. So we're gonna keep our eye on that story, on this Dawn Staley possibly interviewing again for this Dallas Mavericks opening. Again, like I said, she did interview for the New York Knicks opening last year, and obviously they decided to go with Mike Brown. Uh, but me personally, I don't want to see her leave South Carolina. I don't want to see her do that. Let somebody else be the guinea pig, because I like Dawn Staley. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like her. So I'm like, let somebody else be the guinea pig. You just chill. You go ahead and keep collecting that big money, getting them big time recruits in South Carolina, and win you a couple of more natties. Yeah, yeah. Because she already the GOAT of women's college. She's one of the GOATs. Her and Gino Auriemma. She's pretty much put herself in that. She's there. Now, I can't, Pat Summit is definitely there. Peace be upon her. Uh, what's her name? I believe her name is Tyra Vanderveer, Stanford head coach, former, she retired. She's there too. But Dawn Staley is now in the GOAT conversation when you talk about the greatest women's college basketball coaches of all time. She's definitely in that conversation. And she might be on that Mount Rushmore. I already know who the two are on the women's college basketball head coaches of all time. There's Gino Auriemma and Pat Summit. Those two are already there. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now the other two positions can be debated. They can be debated at any time of the day. So right now, the Knicks are up 96-86 with 9:18 in the fourth period. Oh, so what else is going on? It ain't got to be particularly sports. If you watching me, make sure you comment. Don't be hiding out so we can talk. If it's somebody you want to throw out there, well, let's talk about it. It don't necessarily have to be sports. I do want to mention that the loss of Kyle Busch, man, that I'm not a big racing guy. I don't watch racing like that. I've actually covered a racing event at Texas Motor Speedway years ago when I was working in television news and sports. Myself and Kevin Burns, we went to Texas Motor Speedway, which is right outside Fort Worth, to cover a racing event. I'm not big into racing. I know names, but I don't watch it. But just this Kyle Busch story is so sad on all different type levels, man. The 41-year-old, he passed away from severe pneumonia and sepsis, according to reports. No one knew. They knew he had a severe illness. Excuse me. He went to the hospital, according to reports. He was throwing up blood, I believe, and he passed out. According to now, I'm reading this. Busch, who's a two-time NASCAR champion, died at 41 on Thursday, a day after passing out in a Chevrolet simulator. His family said earlier that he had been hospitalized with a severe illness. Days before, he was to compete in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch was testing in a racing simulator in Concord, North Carolina on Wednesday when he became unresponsive and was transported to a hospital in Charlotte. Several people familiar with the situation told the AP. Busch experienced shortness of breath, felt he was overheating, and was coughing up blood the day before his death, according to a 911 call obtained Friday by ABC. So, man, what a sad story. Kyle Busch, only 41 years old. He leaves behind a wife, a couple of kids. He was one of the marquee names in the NASCAR industry, and at such a young age, man. And that's why I was talking about earlier. Me and a couple of buddies just talking about how important it is to to listen to your body, stay on top of your health, make sure you're getting the proper rest. Because I don't care how old you are, at the end of the day, your body is going to tell you when it's time to shut it down, and you need to rest. Let's be honest, our cars are going to tell us too when they're going to give us some signs when, hey, you need to change the oil, or hey, the transmission start doing something funky, or the tire, you need to change the tires because the alignment is off. We get all these signs from our vehicles, but I think a lot of times we don't even pay attention to the signs of our own bodies. And Kyle was walking around probably with this severe pneumonia for probably a week, a couple of weeks, and I'm just assuming, I could be wrong. And he just probably just chalked it up to, I'm cool, I'll be all right. I suck it up. I got these races going on, man. Listen, it's health is wealth, and my baby brother Pete says that all the time. My brother Kaleem, it's there's you can't put a price tag on your health, man. There's no amount of money that can bring you back. I don't care how much money you got in the bank and how much money you've accumulated over the years, and no matter what you've done, if you ain't got your health and you about to get up out of here, ain't nothing that money can do for you at that point if you hadn't, you know, been staying on top of some of the warning signs. Again, so I just definitely want to send my condolences out to the Bush family and to his NASCAR family as well, man. Because again, 41 years old, man, that's so young, and we're seeing a lot more younger and younger people in the obituaries. Yeah, and me and a buddy was talking about that tonight. So uh, make sure you stay on top of your health. Make sure you giving your body rest. Make sure you putting the right type of fuel in your body. I know we all eat crazy, and I don't think you should deprive yourself of certain things that you like. But I always say moderation is key. Make sure you do things in moderation, no matter what it is, uh, and stay on top of that. So uh, that's my thoughts on that. Also, we also lost another legend on this week a couple of days ago. Because I definitely know this one song I definitely know was the soundtrack to my 20s. That is Rob Bass. If you are hip hop heads, we lost a hip hop legend on Friday. Rob Bass died at the age of 59 due to a battle with cancer. Yeah, his DJ Easy Rock had passed away, and I didn't realize that his DJ Easy Rock passed away in 2011 because it was Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that news came down on yesterday that he had passed away at the age of 59. It takes two. I'm sure that was his anthem. If you're a hip hop cat, hip hop head, again, this was 1989, 1990. So I'm telling my age. I would have been in 1989. I would have been 20. So yeah, I was in my early 20s when It Takes Two was jumping off. Then he had the other one, his other big hit, Joy and Pain. He kind of redid the late Frankie Beverly's Joy and Pain. But I definitely remember It Takes Two. I definitely, and people sampled that, years down the line. So we lost another legend, hip hop legend. That is Rob Bass. So we sending our condolences out to the Rob Bass family as well on the loss of a hip hop icon, a hip hop legend. So I went ahead and did about an hour. I always try to do an hour. I always try to do some on my Saturday night sports buzz. Again, I'm Kendrick, the sports guy. If this is your first time watching me, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That is Kendrick Sports Social right here on YouTube, as well as TFG Sports Media. Make sure you like and follow them both on Facebook as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Kendrick1969 and follow me on TikTok at Kendrick Henderson 51. I'm almost at 4,000 followers on TikTok. I think I need like 3 or 4. So if you ain't followed me over there, if you're on that platform, go check out and follow me, Kendrick Henderson 51, so I can get to that 4,000 follower milestone over there on TikTok. We on the road to 5,000 followers on TikTok by Super Bowl 61, February 14th, 2027, which goes down in SoFi Stadium. And I'm hopefully my doggone Packers could be there. We definitely want the Packers to be there. And anybody else, I really don't give a ish about. As long as my Packers, we got to get to the Super Bowl. It's been a minute since we played in the Super Bowl, man. Last time we played in the Super Bowl was in Texas when we christened AT&T, which I affectionately call Lambeau Field South. That's the last time we played in the Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy was a head coach and Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback versus Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin. Ain't that crazy how time flies? And we hadn't sniffed the Super Bowl since. Neither had the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I know you got people that are always talking noise about certain teams ain't sniffing the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys, at which most people like to poke fun at. Me personally, I do too, but I really don't. I don't really do because there's a lot of teams that ain't sniffed the Super Bowl in 30 years too. There's a lot of teams that ain't never been to one. There's one team that I know ain't been to one too, just damn near just as long as the Cowboys, but nobody pokes fun at them. Well, I ain't gonna say they haven't been. They've not won one. Put it that way. They have been to a Super Bowl. They just hadn't won one. And that's the San Francisco 49ers. Because you know me, 49ers been a thorn in our ass for a minute. As far as my Packers. So yeah, I got some vitriol for them too, as well as them NFC North Division rivals. Damn Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, and Minnesota Vikings. But yeah, so I think yeah, the Cowboys ain't been to a Super Bowl since 1990, 95, 96. But it's some teams that ain't never been. And then there's been some teams that ain't won one. They may have been, but they ain't won one. So at the end of the day, second place don't get a trophy. It don't matter if you ain't win it, it don't matter at the end of the day. So that's why I tend to keep my mouth shut because we ain't been to one since 11, 10, 11 when we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's been 15 years since we've been to one. And that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks have defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 110-96. And that series is a wrap. I thought the Cavaliers would win tonight. I thought that I thought the Knicks would get a gentleman's sweep and win this thing in 5. Hell, I think this thing is over now. The Knicks are now 11-2 in the playoffs. I don't, man. Even if the Cavaliers win game 4, it don't matter because it's over. They're not gonna win. They ain't gonna win 4 games in a row. They're not gonna win 4 games in a row on the Knicks. It ain't happening. Yeah. So it's saying 110-90. Yeah, 110-98. So there you have it. So again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy. I hope you all make sure you always set your notification. If you follow me on YouTube, make sure you follow me there, Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube, as well as TFG Sports Media, so you can be alerted when new content is uploaded, as well as live streams are happening. Make sure you like and follow them both on Facebook as well. Doesn't cost you a dime. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Kendrick1969. And follow me on TikTok again, like I said, at Kendrick Henderson 51. Doesn't cost you a dime there, and I'm almost at 4,000 followers. So I won't be live next Saturday night. I'm attending a housewarming party in the DF so I won't be live next Saturday night, but I will be back here live the following Saturday, which would be what, the first Saturday in June. And we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals and some other things. That will be after the June 1st designation. We'll see what some of these NFL teams have done, and talking other sports stuff as well as any other relevant news that goes down on social media and in the news world. So again, I hope you all have a great 3-day weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day with family and friends. And again, please don't say Happy Memorial Day. Just say have a good Memorial Day, because again, this is the day that you remember those that lost their lives fighting for this country, family members, women and men that served in the military. So again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy. We will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.